And you know, going to law school, sitting here where you were 25 years ago, I had no clue what a BOTA was until I started practicing. I went to the DA's office for a couple of years, and after I left the DA's office, I joined a civil firm, and I never got the information as to what it was. Then I started realizing that if you wanted to be respected and well known, it wasn't an absolute. There's a lot of fine lawyers that don't belong in a BOTA. But that's one of the goals I wanted to achieve, is to get into a BOTA. And it's a little difficult. And what makes the organization so legitimate, it's across the country. And so you can't get into this organization unless you have at least 20 civil jury trials to verdict. Now, for some, that may not sound a lot, but think about it. You have to have 20 Superior Court type cases to verdict. Now, there's other ways of getting in if it settles in the middle. But generally, there's some exceptions to that rule, but generally, that's the rule to get into a BOTA. So, first and foremost, you've got to prove to the organization, not only from a chapter level, but from a national level, that you've had the 20 jury trials. And that you also have to pass a peer review by the lawyers and judges that are in a BOTA, because there's judges that were BOTA members that took the bench that still belong to a BOTA. And the important part of it is, a lot of times I'll go out of town and try a case, or a lawyer will come in town, and if you know he's in a BOTA lawyer, then at least you think you're going to get, you know, some mutual respect. Because I got to tell you, in dealing with lawyers, not within Fresno County and the San Joaquin Valley, I still believe it's very congenial how we practice law. But you'll start practicing law when you get out and get your bar ticket with lawyers in LA and San Francisco. And some of these different cities and states have a different mentality on how to practice law. And that's why what a BOTA comes into is say, look, we've got to be civil amongst each other. We cannot fight in these depositions, because when you start fighting amongst each other, and you know, the way it's set up, we call it an adversarial situation. So you're automatically graduating from law school thinking that it is adversarial. And adversarial means fighting, bulldog, hard-nosing things. And there is a time and a place for that, but there's also a time and a place for the civility part of it. So that's one component of our organization. The other component of our organization is the preservation of the Seventh Amendment, the right to jury trial. And you will be surprised that, and Jim will tell you this, in the last 5 to 10 years, we see that just whittling away by tort reform. You hear tort reform legislation to be enacted where you don't have to have a jury trial. You go to arbitration, or they put caps on. Anything that takes away the right to jury trial, our organization is against. We believe not only for the criminal defendants, but for the civil defendants and the plaintiffs, you have a right to a jury trial. And you think about it, but we see it now constantly, that eroding, and so we're there to preserve that. Now, the clip I'm going to show kind of gives you a little bit of introduction about a BOTA.
You see, in law school, Rudy, they don't teach you what you need to know. It's all theories and lofty notions and big fat ethics books.
What's wrong with ethics?
Nothing, I guess. I mean, I believe a lawyer should fight for his client, refrain from stealing money, and try not to lie. You know, the basics.
That was blatant ambulance chasing.
Right. Who cares? There's a lot of lawyers out there. It's a marketplace. It's a competition. What they don't teach you in law school can get you hurt.
You know, that's kind of the perception out there. I mean, I remember when I started, entered law school, the perception was I'd go to lunch with my dad or a family member, and they go, listen, my son, he's entering law school, and everybody would, you know, smile. And by the end of that term, it was the tide started to change, and oh, another ambulance chaser, another shyster. And, you know, we've gone from this noble reputation, and I mean, it's not totally gone, but the public perceives us this way. And part of it is because of movies like this, or things that some lawyers do, quite frankly. And what we try to do is avoid that. I mean, you know, and the civility part of it starts from the very beginning. It starts from the time you get the lawsuit and you answer it, right, Jim?
Right.